Smritimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Anupeta Apeta Krityam Dvapaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmaitaya Tadavo Binedus Tam Sarvabhutam Hridayam Munimanatusmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottanam Devim Sarasvatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshaya Kiptascha Kamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Okay, so we're going to continue hearing the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Beautiful Chaitanya Bhagavat. And continuing the pastime of the deliverance of Jagai and Madhai. And now they are giving reasons why Mahaprabhu's manifestation and why his deliverance of them is unparalleled in the history of the universe, right? So we begin by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalita Bhavishta, Om Vishnupad Asta Tatsat Sri Simad Abhaya Chanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and unto Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalita Bhavishta, Om Vishnupad Asta Tatsat Sri Simad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Raj, and our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga. So, we read this yesterday just to get us prepared for today, but in their ongoing prayers, and saying that your deliverance of us is proof that you are the most merciful. Now it can't be hidden any longer. By doing this, you have shown yourself to the world. Now Lord Ananta can sing your glories without restriction. You know, you may recall that in earlier pastimes, when he was a child, he would, on a few occasions, he did reveal himself and who he was. But on the condition and with the order to that person that don't say anything about this to anybody. I am not prepared to reveal myself yet. So this pastime, actually, he's already revealed himself as a devotee, right? And they've been chanting and doing public sankirtan, which is a remarkable thing. Well, not really public yet. I don't believe the Chankaji pastime has happened yet. But he's showing himself as a devotee, and he showed himself as the Lord. But what is the special quality of this incarnation, this Patit Pavan, right? The deliverer of the most fallen. And so this verse that we heard was Ebe se vidita hoila gopya gunagram nirlaksha udara prabhu ihara senam. Now your hidden quality has become manifest. O Lord, the name of this quality is causeless deliverance. Right? Hidden, causeless deliverance. That's the special feature. I remember very early on hearing about that. I have one very dear godbrother, right? And we tell this story all the time. He won't mind. Name is Brajendranandan. And I remember he came just a few months after me to the Brooklyn Temple. And we served together for so many years. But when he came, he was really distressed, right? And he just, hearing all this incredible philosophy and feeling some relief and the promise of this mercy. And he kept saying, how could this be, right? How could this be available to someone like me? He had this natural quality of humility, right? Self-deprecation. And he truly felt it. And he just couldn't wrap his head around it, right? And so he was in the prasadam room downstairs, chanting back and forth. Someone had instructed him, and he was taking shelter of the holy name. But he would pause time to time and ask, how could this be? How could it be available to me? And the devotee kept trying to explain. And then from the corner, one other devotee, whose name was Radhaballabha, he shouted out, causeless mercy. And he said, what? Causeless mercy. In other words, you don't deserve it. You don't, But the Lord is so merciful that he's going to give it to you anyway. And that he could understand. Oh, okay. And he felt so much happiness and relief. Right? So that's what Jagai and Madhai are saying. So now they're going to continue and explain that even though the Lord did deliver other persons and other demons in his incarnation as Krishna, there were special considerations there. They weren't as bad as Jagai and Madhai. Listen to this sequence of 4 verses. If you say that despite their attack, demons like Kamsa were also delivered, then consider what qualities they had. Okay, so we attacked you. Yeah, but so did Kamsa and other demons. But they're saying, but consider what qualities they had. Those kings constantly saw you. They fought with you according to Kshatriya principles and constantly thought of you in fear. Yet they could not avoid the sin of attacking you, and as a result, they and their dynasties were destroyed. Right, because in the Bhagavatam, it's described when Krishna entered the arena, how different personalities saw him in different ways. And Kamsa always had this mood of fear. Others saw him as death personified, the most powerful of kings. He was on the minds of so many of them. Jarasandha, after the killing of Kamsa, who was married to his daughters, was so angry and kept always thinking of Krishna and came and attacked him, 17 times, 19 times with his armies, huge armies. Collectively, the armies of Jarasandha, each time he attacked, were larger than the combined forces on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So, of course, this is a pastime to rid the earth of all these powerful Kshatriyas, right? But they had the prior condition that they had seen Krishna, they were thinking of Krishna, right? And that, in the Bhagavatam, was described as a meditation that will be a preliminary qualification. So, if you say that despite their attack, demons like Kamsa were also delivered, then consider what qualities they had. Those kings constantly saw you. They fought with you according to Kshatriya principles and constantly thought of you in fear. Yet they could not avoid the sin of attacking you, and as a result, they and their dynasties were destroyed. Saraswati Prabhupada refers to chapter 53 and 54 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Swayamvara of Rukmini. All the kings wanted Rukmini. Krishna just came in and snatched her from Shishupal and the others. And there was nothing they could do. They tried to attack Krishna, and very easily. He defeated them all. So, Jagai and Madhai go on. Tomare de kia nija jivan chadila, tabe kon mahajane thare parashila. They left their bodies while seeing you. Yet which great soul cared to touch them? Right? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra also, so many of these kings also left their bodies, but were they considered auspicious that people were going to see them and touch their bodies? No. Remember though, Jagai and Madhai, after this transformation, Mahaprabhu's intimate associates touched their feet with great happiness. Amare parashe ebe bhagavatagane chaya chuni yehi jana kaila gangasnane. The pure devotees who once took bath in the Ganga after touching our shadow are now touching us. And Saraswati Prabhupada says, why? Those pure devotees used to take bath in the Ganga to free themselves from the sinful reaction of touching their shadow, and now they're touching Jagai and Madhai. Savamate Prabhu Tora e Mahima Badha Kahare Bandiba Sabha Janileka Dadha. O Lord, this is certainly due to your extraordinary glories. Who can be deceived now? Everyone is convinced. Mahabhakta Gajaraja Korila Stavan Ekanta Sharanadeki Korila Mochan. The great devotee Gajendra offered you prayers, and you delivered him because he was fully surrendered. So Saraswati Prabhupada tells the story. He says, in the valley of Trikuta mountain, there is an attractive lake in Varuna's Ritumat garden. Once, when Gajendra went there, or came there with some female elephants, and became maddened by sporting in the water, a powerful crocodile attacked his feet. Gajendra fought with that crocodile for 1,000 years, yet he could not get free from his grip. When Gajendra's strength gradually diminished, and he could not find any other means, he began to offer the Indradumna Stotra to Sri Hari, who then appeared there, and after cutting the head of that crocodile with his disc, he delivered Gajendra. He also delivered the crocodile in that story. That's from 8th Canto, chapters 2 and 3. Right, very important, because Gajendra had been relying on his own strength. He was the king of elephants. How strong he must have been at that time. And ordinarily, an elephant can defeat a crocodile. Crocodiles can't. They're much bigger. Crocodiles, the proportions would be the same, right? Crocodile might get to 2,000, maybe 3,000 pounds. Elephants can get 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 pounds. And if you've seen these videos of these crocodiles attacking elephants, grabbing their trunks or their feet, very quickly they are just tossed aside. But this was a special crocodile. Demigod who had been cursed, and he was enormous. And Gajendra could not free himself. And after 1,000 years, as his strength began to diminish, his pride also began to diminish. And then he could remember and recollect, oh yes, I'm a devotee of the Lord. Sometimes it's said that he was, in a previous life, King Indradumna. That's why it's called the Indradumna Stotra, right? And his qualities of devotion came forth in this pastime when he had no other means now. And then he realized, oh, what is my power? Nothing. My life may end now. That's all right. Let me just remember the Lord. And he picked up a lotus with his trunk and offered it to the Lord, said, whatever you wish, now I surrender to you. And the Lord, very happy, seeing that, came down on Garuda and with his disc cut off the head of the crocodile and liberated them both. Right? So then they go on to say, these two brothers, Daive se upamanahe asura putana agabhaka adijata keha nahi simha. That example cannot be applied to demons like Putana, Aga, and Baka. Although they attained to the spiritual world when they left their bodies, who had the power to see that without Vedic knowledge? So in other words, these demons, they were killed in Vrindavan itself, right? And so the people that witnessed that were Krishna's eternal associates, right? You've done this in Navadvip, the place of so many atheists and, materialistic brahmanas. You've done this for all to see. Right? And this is quite extraordinary. This was, Lord Brahma saw this, and that bewildered him. He was so astonished to see Aga killed and then going into the body of Krishna, then he wanted to see more pastimes, which resulted in him stealing the cowherd boys and calves and hiding them for a year, and then Krishna taking on those forms so that he could associate with the mothers of those boys and accept their service in the mood of Vatsalya for that whole year. And the cows, who were the mother of the calves, he could accept their service, so every day he would go to them like their own son. And so Lord Brahma was not aware of that. He thought he'd stolen these boys and calves, and then Krishna showed him his own mystic power, so much more powerful and extraordinary, and then Lord Brahma came to his senses, offered those exceptional prayers in the 14th chapter. But even he, seeing the deliverance of these demons, could not fully understand, right, Krishna's power. And he was so qualified. But now you've done this in front of everybody. The whole world will see this. What you have done to us two sinners, however, has been directly seen by people of the entire world. The sinners that you have previously delivered all had some qualification or another, but now you have causelessly delivered two persons who were Brahmana demons. This is only due to your mercy. Jagai and Madhai cried as they offered these prayers. Such are the matchless pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. On seeing this matchless pastime, all the Vaishnavas stood up and offered prayers with folded hands. Ye stuti karila prabhu edui madhyape tora kripa vina iha jane karabape. O Lord, without your mercy, not even one's father will understand the prayers offered by these two drunkards. Without your mercy. Oh, wow. So, who can understand your inconceivable energies? Tomara achintya shakti ke bujite pare yakara je rupe kripa karahayahare. Who can understand your inconceivable energies? Or when, how, and on whom you bestow your mercy? This is astonishing to the devotees, because even they had not seen such magnanimity, such audarya, this magnanimous nature of the pastimes, unconditional love without restriction that Mahaprabhu came to show. Right? And so that is now they're completely astonished by that. And it's inconceivable what he's done. No one could imagine two persons like this not only being freed from sins, that may be one thing, but to be infused with such high-class devotional sentiments and completely freed from all material contamination to become Mahabhagavatas in an instant. From that to that, unimaginable. Achintya Shakti, like a magician, right? Sometimes you see a magician. You see one thing, all of a sudden they go poof, and then all of a sudden it's something completely different. And you go, oh, how did that happen? Imagine this. One moment, they were the most wretched, drunken, violent, contaminated demons attacking Lord Nityananda and Haridas. And the next moment, Mahabhagavatas, with pure and simple hearts, filled with great humility, capable of offering such beautiful prayers full of sentiments and realization. Now the Lord, Prabhubale, Edui Madhyapanahayar, Aji Hoite Edui Sevaka Amar. The Lord said, these two are no longer drunkards. From today on, these two are my servants. Now think about that. That's our position as well. Where did we come from? From conditions like Jagai and Madhai. We took it for granted. We lived in a whole society, a culture, so-called civilization of Jagai and Madhais. And now we're engaged in the service of the Lord as much as we want, without restriction. If we're not happy, if we're not serving, that's on us. It's not on this merciful Lord. He has given everything. If we will take it, then okay. It's like examples given of a man may fall down into a dry well. And then down at the bottom of the well, he can't get out. And he's calling, oh, I can't get out, save me, save me. Someone throws down a rope. Okay, I'll pull you up, grab the rope. Oh, I can't. Save me, save me. I'm giving you the opportunity. Just tie that rope around your waist. We'll pull you up. Oh, just give me your mercy. Save me. I'm saving you. I'm giving you the rope. But if you don't take the rope and hold on, then what result do we expect? So, these morning walk books and all Gurudev's travels and lectures, there's a lot of times where people say, oh, give me your mercy. Oh, I'm so fallen. I've given you my mercy in the form of my instructions. Just follow them. Oh, but I'm so weak, I can't do it. Please give me the strength. Okay, it's okay to pray for the strength, but it's also incumbent to recognize that, two fingers, Mother Jashoda, the mercy of the Lord, but also the effort on the behalf of the devotee. We have to try, and it may be baby steps, but you have to try, right? You just can't wallow in your own grief, like I do every night and every morning. When I lay my head on the pillow, wallowing in my own misfortune and grief. And when I wake up, no, I won't wake up. Oh, why can't I enjoy in this world? Oh, I don't want to take a shower. Oh, I definitely don't want to take a cold shower. But little by little, you just keep trying. It's like a little baby who's trying to walk. At first, all they do is stumble awkwardly. Parent will hold their hand and help them along a little bit. And if the baby never gets up after stumbling once or twice or 3 times, they'll never walk. But if they keep trying, they will, because it's natural condition of the child to grow and to be able to walk and then be able to run and do so many things. We were created by God. We are Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. We are made of love, right? But it's covered by the material energy. Krishna just wants, Mahaprabhu wants us to be with him in the same way that Jagai and Madhai, now completely absorbed in realization and love. That's our potentiality. That's our birthright. That's how we were created. It's there. We just have to take it. So the Lord said, these two are no longer drunkards. From today on, these two are my servants. And we're already in that service position. They were not, they just went from drunkards to full Mahabhagavats. We're in the middle ground, but we have service. We have so many opportunities, so many wonderful things. We have these deities that we're allowed to serve every day. See, Srila Prabhupada, I was just listening to him the other day, and he said, you have the opportunity that if you do this, one day Krishna will talk to you. This is possibility for you, that those deities will talk to you. If that's what we're yearning for, I don't know about you, but I find myself so many times when I'm chanting and doing my service, my mind in a completely different place. not appreciating the chanting, not appreciating the service. Oh, I'm cooking for the Lord. No, somewhere else entirely. Lamenting about my miserable condition and how I can't enjoy and how I wish I could enjoy. How lame. How lame. How despicable that is, Being given everything. And, and then sometimes realizing that, slapping my mind a little bit, and then the mind slapping back and trying to take charge. But Mahaprabhu says, they're mine now. They're mine. Ye rupeya haratani ache aparad shamiya edui prati karaha prasad. Forgive whatever offenses they have committed against you and show compassion on them. He's telling all his devotees, right? Forgive them. Do you have any grudges against devotees? Let it go. Let it go. Whatever offenses people are committing, that's between them and the Lord to work out. Them and Guru to work out. How does it help us to meditate on those things? This is my big lesson in my old age. So many of us went through difficulties in our middle age after there were some trials and tribulations in ISKCON. And for many years, I tried to blame all this on somebody else. No. Whatever we're going through now, it's because we need to go through that. Our offenses are catching up with us. I remember the very first darshan I was in with Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, was mind-blowing, life-changing, really. When one very sweet god sister was crying and telling about the abuse that her children had gone through in a Gurukul. Real. And he spoke to her in such a way I've never heard. And it made me think and adjust my thinking about my own self. And he said, please don't cry. He was very gentle and very soft. But he gave this truth. He said, take shelter or have peace in the fact that they went through so many terrible things, but they also had the opportunity to hear, chant in front of the deities, do service. That benefit will be for them eternally. Their bhakti has been planted, it's growing. Whatever they had to experience in terms of these terrible actions, that was because they also did something in their life previously. And actually, it should have been much worse, but Krishna minimized it. Now, if you knew what happened to those kids, these two, oh God, you practically faint when you hear about it. But he was saying that all of us have to take responsibility. Things don't happen out of thin air. There are no innocents in this world. Sometimes people say, oh, if God is so loving and merciful, how come babies have to be burned in war? Or, you could just go through the whole, why does evil exist? And you can think of so many horrible things in the history of this world, in the past and currently. It's just mind-numbing how terrible. But why didn't God make this a place for us, where there is no evil? Well, the evil is us. We have chosen independence, and we make the choices of what to do and what not to do. And based on that, we experience sometimes happy things, sometimes bad things. That's called karma, action and reaction, right? And it's ultimately meant for our purification to go to that place where none of this exists. This is not the kingdom of God. This is the prison house. This is the place where you go by your own choice to be independent, to neglect God. But if you turn your face to God, then all those miseries can be eradicated very quickly. This is what the message of this story is. And the same story is there in the teachings of great acharyas, even in other religions. When you see them showing great mercy and bestowing out of causeless compassion, mercy and love and deliverance to very unhappy, unqualified people. Right? But even then, if you look at Christianity, the close followers of Jesus, almost without exception, maybe one or two, they were all killed, all martyred in terrible ways. Crucified, a bunch of them upside down, stoned to death, had their heads chopped off, skinned alive, all kinds of terrible things. But to their credit, their devotion never wavered. Right? As what kind of example are they showing? So we can also be delivered like that. It's not God's fault that there's evil. It's our choice. We're the ones performing the evil acts, right? And he does come in every millennium to teach the way out. And he sends so many prophets, representatives, to give us these teachings. And we can take them or not, or we can just shake our fist angrily and say, like the person who's in prison for doing so many terrible crimes. And they're so angry at everybody for being in prison. But why are they in prison? Because of their own misdeeds. Right? So, hearing the Lord's words, Jagai and Madhai fell down at everyone's feet. Right? Forgive whatever offenses they have committed against you and show compassion on them. This is Krishna's desire. He is loving. I want to deliver you. Sarva dharmam pradikjagya. Just surrender unto me. Mame kam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. All those sins. Moksha shami. I will deliver you. I'll give you liberation from them. All you have to do is surrender. Serve me with love. I'm giving you the opportunity. If you want it, if you take it, then all that you have a problem with in this world will be gone. So what happened? Sarva Mahabhagavata, all the Mahabhagavats, Koila Aishavad, Jagai Madhai Hoila Nira Parad. All the devotees blessed Jagai and Madhai, who were then freed from all their offenses. So the Lord blessed them himself, and he also requested all the Vaishnavas to bless them. Just like Nityananda, when he delivered Raghunath Das. How did he do it? He ordered him, make a feast for the Vaishnavas. Serve the Vaishnavas prasad. Then, after that feast was done, he asked all the Vaishnavas to bless Raghunath Das. Right? He touched him with his own lotus feet, but he requested the Vaishnavas, you please bless Raghunath Das that he will be relieved from the entanglement of his household life. Right? So that you can't separate. You don't jump over the head of the Vaishnavas. The Lord here instructs by showing us. And then the Lord said, and then all the devotees did do it, and they were freed from all their offenses. And then Prabhu Bale Utta Jagai Madhai Hoila Amaradasa Arachintenai. The Lord said, get up, Jagai and Madhai. Do not worry, for you are my servants. The prayers that you have offered are certainly true. No one can refute them. What you have experienced is not possible in these bodies. Know for certain that this was simply due to Nityananda's mercy. What does that mean? They were given Gora Prem. Generally, when you progress in bhakti, in your existing body, you can come up to Bhav Bhakti, a very high stage of Bhav, right, where you have understood your Siddha Deha. You can be in Samadhi, constant remembrance. But Vastu Siddhi, which is your transcendental spiritual body, you generally have to take birth in the place where Krishna is performing his pastimes, or Mahaprabhu performing pastimes. But he's saying, I took you in these self-same bodies and given you this. What you have experienced is not possible in these bodies. Know for certain this was simply due to Nityananda's mercy. I have personally taken charge of your sinful reactions. Oh, brothers, see for yourselves. In order to demonstrate that there were no more sins remaining in the bodies of these two, the Lord's body turned blackish. Purport. Since all the sinful reactions of Jagai and Madhai took shelter in the body of Mahaprabhu, his body turned black. Advaita Prabhu said, Gaurasundar is looking exactly like Sri Gokula Chandra. The Lord said, then Krishna, the Mahaprabhu replies, the Lord said, how do I look? Advaita replied, you look just like Sri Gokula Chandra. In other words, he looks like Krishna. So he turned black. Does that mean that he was afflicted by the sins of these two? He was showing like a pastime. Oh, your sins are so extensive. He's even turned my body black. But he's transcendental black. And he's even more beautiful. Now they're all seeing him. Oh, now you look like your foremost Krishna. Now you look like that. On hearing Advaita's comment, Vishwambara smiled, and all the devotees chanted the name of Hari. The Lord said, see how these two sinners are black. Perform kirtan so that their sins take shelter in those who blaspheme. Oh, that's important. Saraswati Prabhupada explains. Mahaprabhu said, the forms of Jagai and Madhai's sinful reactions are black. All of you perform kirtan. Then these black sinful reactions will take shelter in those who blaspheme the devotees. And Jagai and Madhai will be delivered from their sins. Hearing the Lord's words, everyone became jubilant. They then began to perform kirtan in ecstasy. So, there's an important lesson in that. They've been relieved of their sins, right? But if anybody blasphemes somebody, whatever sins or offenses those persons have will then be transferred to the persons who blaspheme. This is another danger of fault finding. It's easy to find fault in this material world. Everybody has fault. Kaler dosha nidhera jan asti heko mahad guna. This world, the whole Kali Yuga, is full of faults, right? So what do? Do you want to just find fault everywhere? Or kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha paramvajat. But if you take shelter of chanting the holy name of the Lord, then all of that goes away very quickly. But Srila Narayana Maharaj used to say, don't criticize others, because what happens? When you criticize someone else and you detect a fault, what are you doing? You're meditating on that fault. And that fault, those qualities, inhabit your mind. And those faults then come into your heart. The soul is like a crystal. Whatever it associates with, it takes on those qualities. As we associate with the modes of nature, in whatever way, through our mind, allowing our mind to control us and be miserable, or by associating with some grossly material thing, then the soul inhabits that and takes that quality, that color, right? But if we associate with devotees, with the holy name, then all those things fly away. As Rupa Goswami describes it, one who chants the holy name, raises his arms and claps ecstatically, sins and offenses and bad qualities fly away like frightened birds in a tree, right? If you go outside and a bunch of birds are in the tree and you go, all those birds will fly away, right? Same with these. So when you're obsessed and absorbed and overwhelmed by these things, just chant and pray to the Lord. Oh, I don't want this. I want to think of you. I want to serve you. I don't want to serve my mind. I don't want to meditate on, oh, this person's giving me problems, that person's giving me problems. I remember when I had a realization of this many, many years ago. I was given a realization of this, actually. I was living with a friend, godbrother, dear godbrother, named Brahma Das, still dear friend. And we would sit together and chat, and we served together. We did a lot of service. We had a lot of old war stories. But we'd also be sitting around watching TV or talking about this or that. And quite often I would start talking about some old ISKCON thing and some particular god brother that I had this anger towards. And then one day, he finally said, you can't go 20 minutes without talking about this guy. This guy lives in your head. He's living rent-free in your head. And I said, what? And he goes, you're always thinking about him, talking about him. And I said, I am not. He goes, yes, you are. And he says, I'll prove it. I'll bet you a quarter, because we would bet a quarter, that you can't go, these 20 minutes or a half hour, I forget, without his name coming up. And we're watching TV or something. I said, you're on. And then we're watching TV, and something came up, and all of a sudden I go, yeah, that's just like so-and-so. And he goes, and he looks at his watch, 15 minutes. And he said, see? And I went, oh my God, I never realized that. You're right. And then I decided, okay, I can't, let this control my life, right? I can't let this control my life. I got to let this go. Yeah. Do you want to be like that, or do you want to be happy and meditate on Radha and Krishna, pastimes with the cowherd boys, so much fun, the gopis, Mother just showed us, so loving, right? The deer and the birds and the forest of Vrindavan, so sweet. Mahaprabhu, so magnanimous, all of that, so joyful, so wonderful. Or do we want to think about our miserable life, this person, that person? It's all a reflection of our own unhappiness. Why live in that cesspool, right? So Jagai and Madhai are freed. He's saying anybody who continues to think about them in that way or meditate, then they're just living that miserable life, right? So these two sinners, they were black, performed kirtan so that their sins take shelter in those who blaspheme. Blaspheme means criticize, right? Nindake, sapayoka nindake, right? Criticizing. You don't even want to criticize ordinary people. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes a beautiful article called Vaishnava Ninda, where he describes that practice of criticizing and what it does to you. And even if you're just criticizing an ordinary jiva, it may not be aparad, like that can break your bhakti, but it is sin, and it also creates a mentality that can quickly transfer to, if you criticize everybody else, if you have that nature, you'll also turn that on Vaishnavas, because that's the nature of your mind. So you want to live a very restrained and happy life, restrained from that mentality of thinking about all these negative thoughts all the time. Think about Krishna, think about, Mahaprabhu. Think about Srila Prabhupada. Think about Srila Gurudev, Think about those pastimes. So glorious, so merciful. So then, hearing the Lord's words, everyone became jubilant. They then began to perform kirtan in ecstasy. So now we'll be hearing about that, the dancing of the Lord and his devotees. We'll start with that tomorrow. Okay. So we'll stop here, offering our desperate prayers to Srila Prabhupada, to Srila Gurudev, to free us from this horrible tendency, to allow us, to help us become eager to immerse ourselves in this realm, in these pastimes, in this environment, and to be merciful and happy and tolerant and helpful towards others, right? That's what we want. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.